This is a solitary confinement cell.
In the late 1800s, this was state-of-the-art prison technology. A solitary confinement cell, a place where the worst prisoners were sent when they misbehaved.
The wrist irons would have been fed through this ring on the wall, so you could see that it would be right about my neck. And I'm 5'7", so a male would have been about my height, give or take. And then, of course, there's one on the floor that would have been for the chains between your ankles. Once that door closes, it's pitch dark in here. You can scream all you want, nobody's going to hear you.
This solitary cell is in the basement of the former Vaughn Street jail. It's part of the only remaining cell block in the 132-year-old building at the corner of York and Memorial downtown. The jail was built in 1881 with an additional wing added in 1910. It functioned as the provincial detention facility until Headingley was built in 1930, and it eventually closed in 1984. Most of the building is now used for storage. Kristin Verin-Treusch leads tours through this building as part of the annual Doors Open Winnipeg program. She is a local expert on the jail and always makes sure to dress the part when she guides a tour.
Well, I try to replicate an early constable or turnkey's uniform. So this would have been, the tunic that you would have seen on a lot of the fellows working here.
Those fellows kept watch over these cells. They were very small, very dark, with some old documents suggesting as many as 4 prisoners could have been kept in a cell at a time. The remaining cell block is mostly original, with a few upgrades that happened over the years, like these locking mechanisms for the cells on this row.
And the turnkey would have led the criminals down the hallway. They would have all entered their individual cells. The turnkey would have closed each individual, come out here, close this door, which is, you can see, a massive locking mechanism here. And then these levers would pull simultaneously, one at a time, and they would lock the doors all at the same time.
Just around the corner from those cells are these ones, where people with mental illness were housed. Anyone with a mental illness at that time was referred to as a lunatic, and anyone placed in these cells was handcuffed to the floor, attached to these metal loops with only a thin mat underneath. Heading upstairs and outside, this area is just a parking lot now, but back in the day, a 15-foot fence surrounded the area, which was used most days as an exercise yard. But this spot also had a much more notorious use.
This is also where the executions would have taken place. There was a makeshift gallows put together when needed. 13 executions were done between 1899 to about 1928.
Because people were known to have died here, there are always questions about ghosts. And it just so happens Verin-Treusch has her own personal ghost story. She had arrived at the jail one day to give a tour and saw a woman wearing a period costume standing in those windows right above the door.
So I got my group together, we head inside and we go up to the second floor, and the security guard met us there, and he pulls out the key and he unlocks the door. So I turned to him and I said, "Has this door been locked all day?" And he says, "Oh yeah, I'm the only one with the key." So I'm thinking, okay. So then I asked him, "So how did the woman get upstairs about 10 minutes ago?" And he looks at me like I'm losing it here, and he says, "There are no women in the building." When I started doing Doors Open, I was the last up on the tour, and I had several individuals come to me and say, "Did you know there's a spirit woman pacing on the second floor in the south wing?" So pretty much after that, happening to me several times, I feel like I was vilified and not so crazy after all. So, they're quite heavy and stiff nowadays, because after all, the building is quite old, and you can imagine a person.
If you would like to see the Vaughn Street Jail for yourself, Verin-Treusch hosts tours during Doors Open Winnipeg. She also does private tours through muddywatertours.ca. For Shaw TV's Go Winnipeg, I'm Kim Babbage.